Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It's Tuesday, August 11th, 2026. Let's get into the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, inside the drama among House Democrats in Michigan. Number two, what to watch on primary day. And number three, who Kevin Warsh is meeting with. All right, Jake, let's get to it. We have a juicy story of drama among Democrats in Michigan. And no, we aren't talking about the Senate race. Allie Mutnick has all the details on how not only Hakeem Jeffries, DCCC were working behind the scenes in a specific House race, but they didn't get the candidate, once again, that they wanted.
Yes. So a very interesting postmortem on one of the most watched primaries in the country, and that will turn into one of the most watched general election campaigns, Anna, of the fall, which is against between William Lawrence and Tom Barrett in Wisconsin. This was a race this is the story of the Democratic Party right now, Anna, of course. This is two moderates, Bridget Brink and Matt Masdom, and who both stayed in the race against William Lawrence, a former Democratic Socialist of America member who was on the cusp of winning the August 4th primary. Basically, they tried to consolidate. They did everything they can, but the DCCC did nothing to publicly push Lawrence out of the race. And you could make the argument that party organization it would only benefit the left wing of the party to have the DCCC get involved, but a lot of things were working against the establishment here, including a Republican mystery super PAC, which spent $1.7 million boosting William Lawrence, the left-wing candidate, the former DSA member. Just a fascinating story, and Democrats are still, at least if you're betting today, which we don't do at Punchbowl News, we do not gamble on politics. But if one is to gamble on politics, you'd still bet that Democrats would take back the House. But it's races like this that worry Democrats, right? Because you have William Lawrence, a left-wing candidate, a very progressive candidate, running against Tom Barrett, who is a pretty vulnerable House Republican from Michigan, Anna.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing to me here is, one, the idea that the D-Trip didn't weigh in. I think you and I have been pretty vocal on our opinion that, these party committees are putting a bunch of money into these races, or certainly the super PACs are. It would surprise me that they wouldn't necessarily put their thumb on the scale, but it's also just the behind the scenes maneuvering, right? Like Hakeem Jeffries saw how it didn't work out for him in New York when he was public. So here he goes and is still trying to work the ref here, right? And is trying to, maybe that's the wrong phrase, but
that works, Anna. I think that's fine.
All right. I had a sports ball here, right here this morning at 6:30, But I do think, it is just showcasing how everybody's paying attention. They're trying to use anything in their power to get the candidates they think are the best suited to win, but are unsuccessful this cycle, time and time again.
Yeah, and Anna, I want to mention one other thing that's not related to this topic at the top of the newsletter this morning. OLC, DOJ's OLC, Office of Legal Counsel, released a new memo Monday saying the president can exert executive privilege over communications with private advisors so long as they relate to official presidential deal-making, involve or reflect communications with the president or his direct advisors, and are confidential. The OLC opinion extends to that shield to the president's direct advisors' communications with private citizens too. So the DOJ is giving the president wide berth to claim executive privilege over a whole big swath of communication with private advisors. Comes right before, I can't say definitively this is because the Democrats are favored to take back the House. Probably doesn't hurt, to be honest with you, but this is a big decision. So anyhow,
certainly, as you look at, and oversight is certainly where Democrats are going to be focusing their time if they are successful. Also, I think interesting, given the fact that this administration does a lot more deal making with the private sector than we've historically seen, whether you look at the drug industry, whether you look at kind of looking at potential investing in private, enterprises. It is noteworthy indeed, and what that looks like, and whether or not there'll be some challenges to that, I would expect. All right, Jake, let's go to the number 2 story of the morning. Tuesday is a busy primary day across the country. Our very own Max Stone and Andrew Desiderio have all the details on what we are tracking. Of course, let's start in the Palmetto State, South Carolina, and that Senate race. Will that be Darlene Graham, the Republican who is vying to fill her brother's seat, or in that crowded primary, will another Republican emerge to take the mantle? That's the big question.
Yeah, and I think this is very likely at this point to go to a runoff on August 25th, which is, again, that's just 2 weeks away. And I mean, not much of a runoff.
Not much of a time to make a big dent in where the electorate is, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would also just say on that, it's going to be difficult to get people to come out and vote twice. And the people who are going to come out and vote twice are going to be party faithful. They're not going to be just like, John Doe Republican. And I think that's always the case in special elections. And I think that'll be more so the case here. We also have in Minnesota the Senate race between Peggy Flanagan and Angie Craig. They're vying to replace Tina Smith. And close to my heart, my home state is close to my heart. These people aren't, but John Larson is in the fight of his political life against former Hartford Mayor Luke Bronin. Bronin is making a generational argument against Larson, who is 78 and was first elected in 1998, Anna, the long time ago, year of my bar mitzvah. So, yeah, I don't know why I felt the need to say that, but when I say 1998,
that's really, it sticks in your head. It's one of those core memories, Jake Sherman on stage singing.
Come to mind for me. And then in Wisconsin, we have Francesca Hong, the front runner in the Wisconsin Democratic gubernatorial primary. Establishment Democrats trying to rally around David Crowley.
All right, let's move on to the number 3 story of the morning. This is just kind of my favorite kind of story, right? Where we get a peek into how administration officials are trying to meet with behind the scenes members of Congress, those that are really interested in their policy. And our very own Brendan Peterson has a look behind the scenes, the Federal Reserve Chair Kevin Warsh, and how he held a flurry of meetings with members of Congress in June, according to a review of Warsh's public calendar. June was Warsh's first full month in the job leading the U.S. Central Bank. But man, he did a ton of meetings. Really interesting to see. I mean, it's not unusual. There's nothing nefarious here. I'm not trying to say that, but it's just always interesting to see how people are kind of talking to members of their own party, of the opposite party, particularly in such a key role as the central bank. Warsh is not the first, Fed chair to try to do this. Jay Powell often met with lawmakers, but here's some trivia that Brendan has for us. Representative Juan Vargas, the Democrat from California, appears to have been the first member of Congress to have a private official call with Warsh on June 10th. Interestingly enough, Vargas serves on a House task force on monetary policy that is chaired by Frank Lucas, who also spoke by phone with Warsh in June, Jake.
Yeah, and of course, Warsh also met with key members of the committee, including Fred Hill, the chair of the committee, Maxine Waters, Brad Sherman. So very interesting item by Brendan this morning.
All right, we will leave it there. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate it. If you like the Daily Punch, share it on social media. Tell your friends. It is the best way for folks to find out about us. And of course, you can go deeper on all things Punchbowl News at punchbowl.news. Sign up for Premium Plus. We got all kinds of coverage throughout this month into a very busy September. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.